Hey guys, it's layout overview time, and we're going to start over here with the track plan. This isn't exact. The yard's a little different than what's depicted here in the AnyRail 6 diagram, but it's got everything else on there, all the different tracks. So I'll just leave this up here for a second while I talk, and if you want to take a closer look, you can pause it and take a closer look at it. But generally, the layout here is pretty good. I don't know if you can see my cursor right there. Track plan, I'll go ahead and use a pointer. Track plan down here is a little bit different in the yard. I've got a little lead that runs out this way here. And yeah, this track doesn't actually come all the way across like that. So that's just a little different because I didn't quite get enough time to just update this, or I didn't feel like doing it. Also, we've got the major industries out on here, you know, starting with like United Polymers and Titan Transfer right here, and then we've got athearn, Southern Wine and Spirits up here. Coming through the little wooded area here with the vagrants is the sort of this side of the layout, or this little section right here. This is our Royal Plywood right over here. This is Shasta Beverage. It's not labeled here, but that track extends out there. We've got the horse corral right here, and then we've got another street that comes up to here, and then we've got our Sanford and Son Salvage right in this location here. So, and then again down over here we have Terrazzo and Marble and Southern California Edison, which I'll kind of zoom in there a little bit, but you can see it's a switchback off of here. And then we've got our Reliable Lumber right there, comes off of here. Right here is where the girls are at the taco stand. And then coming across here, we've got the van shop right on the other side of the street, and Surfer's Outlet right over there. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the entire track plan. All right, I'm gonna kind of swing down here and show you a map, but I'm gonna brighten it up here for a second. All right, there we go. Got the light on it here. So this is a track plan for Southern California, and as you can see here, it's a big giant mess, but it does depict our little route over here. I'll try to keep the shine off of the light as much as I can. But we start out over here in Santa Fe Springs, Los Nidos Yard. We kind of come down, pick up this main line, runs all the way through here, Cerritos and La Mirada. There's a couple industries I have on the layout there. Comes back around this way, goes by Disneyland, which is right over here where that I-5 sign is. And then we pick up the Stanton lead that heads all the way down Westminster right there. That's where the SoCal Edison facility is. And then we go all the way down to the end where we have what is it? Not the Plywood Place, the Lumber Yard and Surfer's Outlet, all the way at the tail end right there. So that is a general map of the location for my railroad. Now let's go take a closer look and actually take a look at the layout, and I'll talk about some of the operational aspects that I thought of when building this layout. All right, so we're out in my garage, which is where the layout is, and you can see it takes up one bay here. I have a 3-bay garage here in Southern California. As I've mentioned in prior videos, here it's kind of like a 2.5 car garage, really. But it takes up the 1 bay right there. Size-wise, it's about 16 by 10-ish, something like that. And it's actually basically a loop. So if we take a look at this, you can see that it is just a loop, but I run it as sort of a point-to-point. Now the benchwork here, I don't remember how high it is, but you know, you can kind of see it's comfortable for me. I think it's like 54 inches, 52 inches or something like that. All of the sides are 2 feet across. So it's 2 feet here, it's 2 feet over there, and 2 feet right here across this way. The only one that's smaller is that little section right there where the yard lead is. That's 1 foot And if you were a follower from way back when, you remember it was actually smaller. This little part right here used to be 6 inches across, and I ended up expanding it, making it 1 foot here, so it's not, you know, got a little bit more room right there. The back boards right here are about 12 inches or so, I believe. Maybe a little bit higher, you know, I don't know. But generally about 12 inches here. And then what I did was just sort of made like a little benchwork on top of the, on top of all of the background. And of course we got the garbage truck coming by right now. I'll stop for that. Okay. Garbage truck went by outside, so I was making a big racket. Anyway, yeah, so the little backgrounds have a little sort of like a little benchwork up on top, or a little shelf unit like that. And it's got about a 2-inch fascia right here that kind of hides the LED lighting that's up, you know, LED strip lighting that's up over there. Keeps it looking nice and clean like that all through the layout. And let's see here, for the yard, this is another 2 feet, so this section right here is actually 4 feet across, right? 2 feet on this end, 2 feet on this end, and that kind of makes up our loop. Now, when I started building this thing, you know, I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do. I just wanted to get back into model railroading after a little while. I did have a prior layout that was a dog bone over here. And, you know, it was fun for a little bit, but I got kind of tired of just having trains running through scenes, you know. It was neat, and I like it. It's just, you know, kind of got a little bored with it, you know. And so I started looking around and started watching videos on YouTube and stuff, and seeing, you know, all of these people with like switching layouts or small little shelf layouts, and they're having like a lot of fun doing all sorts of work, switching cars in and out of industries and stuff. So I started doing a little bit more investigating, a little bit more research, and I found Lance Minheim's book here, How to Operate a Modern Era Switching Layout. Highly recommend this book if you're looking into doing a switching layout, or you know, even like a small shelf layout or something like that. He goes into a lot of detail on how you know how switching works, you know, and all of the little things that you have to take into account when you're doing switching. I'll put a link to this book. It's an Amazon affiliate link in the description, so if you want to pick this up, go ahead and click on that. I think I kicked back, they kicked back like 2 cents or something to me, I don't even know. But anyway, highly recommend that book. So let's go ahead and take a look at a little bit more closer detail here on the layout. I run this as a point-to-point, even though, again, it's basically a big loop, right? And you can see we've got our hauler kind of running through the yard right here, just run around in a big loop. So I can actually run a train in a big circle, but the way it operates is a point-to-point. And one of the things that I didn't show on my my little diagram was that my little added staging here. So it's kind of dark right here, but there's 2 tracks right over here. And I still got to rework this to make it better, but it comes out here. And if we follow let's follow along with how trains actually run here. They get staged over here, right? They run out here on the main line, out on the outside here. They actually run through the layout. And then they come through here. They can actually cut across here, come back to the main line and just do a loop. Or in this case, the way I've got my little hauler running right now, he's actually coming into the yard here, and that's how the hauler would come out of staging, come into the yard, settle down over here, disconnect, go park someplace over here, and then our little yard consist here, this little Jeep B15 and Jeep B38, they take over, and they classify all the cars over here within the yard. And on my yard, they pretty much work on this end here, because the way I've got it worked out here is you can see the main line on the outside, and the yard lead goes all the way down our little section all the way to there. So plenty of room for a nice long yard lead here for our yard consists to do its work over here, classify the different cars that are going to go into different industries and such. And then we take our local over here. Now generally I run these guys right here as consisted together for my local. They'll pick up the cars, run out into the layout, and do the switching, you know, wherever they're going to all the different industries, right? And then do their pickups. They'll come back into the yard with any of their pickups. And I have this track right here, I believe I'm pointing to the right one, as sort of the track that's going to contain all the cars that are going off the layout, meaning going back into staging, right? And so usually these guys will arrive here like they did with these cars into the arrival track, which is what they're sitting on. They disconnect, and then again we jump back into our yard guys, and they'll take those cars, move them around, switch them around if they have to, and stage them where this flat car is right here on our departure track, right? And then the hauler will come out of wherever it's sitting over here, you know, usually staged on one of the servicing tracks right over here. Pop out there, grab those guys that are going to be departing. They kind of run back up this way. They go around the layout, and way back over there where he's kind of cutting over, they take the main line, which is this outside line right here. They're coming back up this way, and they head all the way back out to staging, and then they get resorted over there for whatever else I want to do. But that's generally the way it flows here on the layout. So let's jump inside. I'm actually going to stop our little hauler running over there, and while I do that, I'll tell you what I use for controlling my trains. I use the ESU cab controller. So this is the handheld unit. It's a Wi-Fi. Back underneath the Benchwork over there is another little power brick and the actual Wi-Fi router, receiver, whatever, and power unit that powers up all the tracks. Right, so I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to stop him wherever he is, hit the brake. I really like this because it has these 4 buttons on the sides that you can program to be whatever you want them to be. And so what I have is I have a brake right here. I have the direction back and forth, and you can see the arrows kind of switching back and forth there on the diagram. And then I have the horn over here, and I believe that's the emergency stop, which I don't never use, but you know, you always want to have that one handy just in case you forgot to put the lift up bridge on and all of a sudden you realize you're going to go off into the floor. So that's how that thing works. Here's my lift up bridge, pretty simple. Just a couple of hinges right here up on top, kind of masked with a little bit of paint and some scenery, and swings up. Now it's been hot in California, and this thing does tend to sort of warp a little bit and all this other crap, so it gets a little crusty here. You might hear it creaking a bit. I do have a couple of little L-beams right here on the top and the bottom screwed in just to keep it from warping too much. Occasionally I have to adjust the track here a little bit for our, you know, coming out of the yard and coming out of our main line right here. And that's why I have a little nail right there, because I can always stick a little nail up here just to prop up one end and make sure it's nice and smooth going across. So yeah, works out pretty good. Like I said, there's a little bit of play in it occasionally with the temperature changes, but I've never had any other issues with temperature in the track work at all. I think I have, I think I have enough, you know, little, you know, spacing in the joints and stuff like that, so that it doesn't really, you know, track doesn't warp or anything like that. So let me talk about the background here, the little background mountains and stuff like that. So these mountains are just printed out on regular printer paper. It's a picture that I took off of my backyard. I kind of overlook a valley and I see the mountains off in the background. So I just printed them out, you know, kind of did a little bit stitching and pasting together in, you know, your regular old paint programs on a computer. Print them out, tape them together, and stick them on the background. It's not pretty fancy, but it does the trick here. And then I have them taped up to the back here. I try to glue them when I can. I still got to do a little bit of work here to get it all blended together right here. And then same thing with like the little backgrounds right here. This is just pictures off of Google Street View that, you know, I find something that looks decent, and I can kind of take a few pictures of it, you know, snapshots off the screen, and then put it up. And you can see what I've done here. This is like one of the newest sections that I put up like a while ago. And I have to come back because what I do is I just kind of tack it up with a little bit of, you know, tape on the background there. And then I let it sit for like 6 months, right? Because with the temperature changes and stuff, you start getting little curls like this. Kind of let the paper settle in, you know what I mean there? And then I'll come back, which I have to do here is, you know, take this off because it's just, again, just got some tape on the background there. And I'll actually try to glue this or tape it really well to the background, fix all these little spots like this. You can see this has actually been spliced, so this is just a mirror image here and here. So I might kind of cut this off a little bit just to kind of get rid of that, I don't know, whatever. Kind of funky little mirror image right there. But that's what the background is. Now, same thing with all of my buildings, which like for instance, this flat right here. Let me go ahead and take it off for you. It's just a little bit of like poster board just stuck together. And then what I do is I go into Google Street View again. I grab a little screenshot of, you know, one section of a building, like one little section, just duplicate it and just glue it onto there. You know, find a couple little doors like that. Same thing, those are just pasted on, you know, put the sign up there, and instant building. Now, I know a lot of people say, you know, that's, you should be doing like hardcore modeling, you know, and spend years building a little building like that, and that's fine. I just don't have the patience for it. So my whole philosophy was I just wanted to get something that looked halfway decent, can photograph really good on camera, because the whole point was that I kind of wanted to do videos and document, you know, the layout and everything, and do my little operating sessions, you know, with nice little views here. And you can't really tell, you know, whether it's a high quality built building back there or just some printed out stuff. Also, one of the things that you know, everybody that does model railroading will know it, you know, it's never finished, right? There's always room for improvement. And my philosophy was, let's get something back here that looks okay, where I can get started, and I'm not just running around on a bunch of plywood and masonite board in the background. And then as time goes by, all of these buildings will be upgraded with more details, maybe more detailed parts, completely rebuilt with, you know, real nice kind of, you know, a little bit better craftsmanship, let's put it that way. Same thing, this is actually the first one I built, which is this little square box for Royal Plywood right here. And you can look back in my videos, you know, on my channel, and you can actually see the progress I did with that one. And again, everything's always going to get upgraded. This street right here, as you can tell, is just printed out piece of street, and it's fallen apart. I've done a number of different iterations for this street. This is one of my, you know, ongoing projects here, is to redo this street. I'm actually going to take all of this stuff off. This is all just printed out paper, and I'm going to do some painting and just kind of, you know, bring it up a level from, you know, just your plain old little paper there. But for starters, it's pretty good, you know. And that's the way I run it here. Same thing with all of the buildings here. These are just little flats. Let me go and grab this one here. If I don't get it out with the palm tree, it's just a piece of poster board. This is an apartment building down in, I think, near Huntington Beach, off of Google Street View. Just grabbed a couple screenshots of it and pasted it on here after trimming it a little bit. And you can see there's the background. I just stick it back there. There, instant apartment building down here overlooking the junkyard. So, again, we're heading down here through the layout. This is my little section that kind of constitutes the Stanton lead that we saw on the map there. You know, we kind of like Disneyland would be someplace out here. I kind of call this Anaheim. And we can turn off over here under the bridge, and we service our industries heading down towards Huntington Beach here through Westminster. We've got a terrazzo and marble there. That building hasn't had a sign on it the whole time, but it's terrazzo and marble, which just happens to be a real world industry someplace on the real world line, but you know, whatever, that's where it is right there. Big location right here for our SoCal Edison. And again, when I was doing the track planning here, I wanted to have the maximum amount of switching and variety, you know, that I could get in a small layout like this. Like I said, it's 16 by 10-ish, something like that, maybe 11. So I did a little switchback within here, which is actually what the industry in the real world has. It's got a couple more tracks interior inside of the layout here, or inside of the industry in the real world, but I managed to get one track that goes up here, and then it switches back, comes back over here, and that just adds so much kind of variety instead of just, you know, a trailing point, you know, spur that you just drop the cars off, right? We head all the way back down here, and this is it. This is the end of the line here. Like I said, it's point to point. We start out in the yard back there, run all the way around the layout and into Huntington Beach over here, just like the real world. And the last thing in the real world is the reliable lumber yard right here. And you might say, wow, this just looks like a bunch of whatever, crapola wood right here and some paint. Well, that's what it is, because I don't have a lot of space here. So the philosophy, again, and if you kind of go through Lance Minheim's book there, he kind of poses the, you know, model railroading as it's a play. You know, it's like going to see a play, and this is the stage here, which is why, again, everything is blacked out here. Got black curtains down at the bottom. I like having the black back here at the top as I knock over the power line there. You know, just kind of like, this is my stage right here, and so this is just a prop. All of these little things are little props in my play of switching here. And so this industry, even though in the real world, you know, there's big piles of lumber, there's buildings, there's everything else, I'm just modeling one little rail that comes in here and a little bit of the yard. The rest of the industry is imaginary. It's out here. Use your imagination there. Same thing with you know, the industry here is SoCal Edison. There's a couple more tracks that come in there. There's buildings. There's all this other stuff, and maybe I'll add stuff as we go. But for right now, a little switchback, a little gantry crane, my jack thing right there. A couple little odds and ends here. The facility there in the real world is they make transformers of all different sizes and stuff. So here's your generic Walters transformer sitting there depicting that this is SoCal Edison. So as far as industries that I have, generally all of them are real world industries. Not every single one, but you know, and they're not always in the same spot. You know, you have to kind of condense things as you plan out your you know, your layout. Some things gotta move around a little bit. Some things aren't in the right spot. Some things are just totally made up. Like my Titan transfer facility here. There is an actual Titan transfer facility, but it's actually closer to Long Beach. It's not anywhere on the line there. But I had this little section right here that I didn't know what the hell to do with, but I wanted to have tank cars, and I wanted to run tankers on my, when I say tankers, people get mad, tank cars on the layout here. And so I said, well, I'll make this the Titan transfer facility, right? Even though it's, you know, we're fudging it here a little bit. It's not really here in what is kind of Cerritos and La Mirada. It's way down in Torrance or something like that. But yeah, I've got the industry right there. And then, you know, some industries that are absolutely made up are like my little scrapyard. This is Sanford and Son Scrapyard, if you remember the show, Sanford and Son. There's a little play on Southern California, that's where they were, and so yeah, who doesn't love a scrapyard here, right, on their layout? And so that's what I wanted to do, so that's what I've got right here. And it's totally made up, totally fictitious, but hey, we get to have gondolas, and once we actually get to, you know, upgrading our scenery, bringing it up to the next level, we'll actually get it looking a lot better, right? So I'm trying to think of like other questions that people have in my layout, you know, on my videos and stuff like that, but I think I've kind of answered them all. If you have any other questions, feel free to throw a comment in there. I try to answer almost all of the questions that I get, unless they're kind of silly. But generally I answer all the questions. You know, like, you know, people have things that I just can't think of right now. So yeah, throw them in the comments right there, and then while you're at it, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe, and you won't miss any of my videos here. I don't do a lot of layout update videos right now because it's summertime and it gets like 100 and something degrees in the garage, and so I generally just stick to operations videos. But yeah, go ahead, hit the subscribe button there, hit the like button. It helps with the YouTube algorithm there to, you know, get me some more views and stuff like that, and hit the bell button to get notified, and you will see more videos like this and my operations videos. So guys, I hope that gives you a good overview of the layout here. I know I always get questions like that, and I try to do one of these videos every few every few months or so, but I haven't in a while. But seemed like a good time. I was getting a lot of questions on can we see the whole layout and everything. So there it is. Guys, till next time, have a good weekend and a good 4th of July. It's coming up here in the next couple days. I'm filming this on Thursday. I'll put it out on Friday. So yeah, have a good 4th of July, everybody. And while we're talking 4th of July, I think it's a good spot to end in. Take care, guys. Bye.